I spent the entire night cross-referencing the disappearance dates with the encrypted message timeline. Every single time one of these mysterious posts appeared online, someone had gone missing within a 50-mile radius of those coordinates within 48 hours. The disappearances weren't connected in any obvious way. Different ages, genders, backgrounds. Some were hikers who never returned from trails. Others were people whose cars were found abandoned on rural roads. A few were locals who just vanished from small towns and were never seen again. Law enforcement had never connected these cases because they happened across multiple jurisdictions and seemed random. But they weren't random. They were timed to the encrypted messages, which were timed to astronomical events. I realized I was potentially looking at evidence of serial killings that had been going on for 15 years. The encrypted messages weren't just mysterious puzzles. They might be some kind of record or trophy system for a killer who was using astronomical timing for their crimes. The smart thing would have been to contact the FBI immediately, but I was terrified and curious. I'd become obsessed with this mystery, and the thought that I might have actually solved it was both thrilling and horrifying. I decided to do a little more research first. I found social media profiles and news articles about several of the missing people. Most of them had been involved in outdoor activities, hiking, camping, stargazing. A few had even posted about wanting to see specific astronomical events before they disappeared. The pattern was becoming clear. The killer was targeting people who would be outdoors during these specific astronomical events, probably approaching them under the pretense of sharing an interest in stargazing or astronomy. I finally worked up the courage to call the FBI tip line. I explained the encrypted messages, the astronomical timing, the coordinates, and the correlation with disappearances. The agent I spoke with sounded skeptical, but took down all my information and promised someone would look into it. 3 days later, I got a call from an FBI special agent who specialized in cybercrimes and serial offenses. She'd verified my findings and was assembling a team to investigate the Montana location. They wanted me to walk them through exactly how I'd solve the encryption and provide all my research. I spent hours on the phone with federal agents, explaining the astronomical correlation and the decryption method. They were amazed that internet puzzle enthusiasts had been unknowingly helping to preserve evidence of potential serial crimes for over a decade. The FBI investigation moved quickly. They obtained warrants for the property records, satellite imagery analysis, and ground-penetrating radar surveys of the coordinates I'd identified. What they found there was worse than anyone had imagined. The site contained a buried concrete structure, essentially an underground bunker that had been carefully hidden and then camouflaged after construction. Inside, they found evidence linking the location to at least 12 of the disappearances spanning 15 years. The killer had been using the bunker as a base of operations, timing their crimes to astronomical events, and then posting encrypted records online as some kind of twisted trophy system. Each message contained not just coordinates, but coded information about the victims. They arrested the property owner, a 58-year-old man named Marcus Webb, who worked as a freelance astronomer and telescope repair technician. His job gave him legitimate reasons to travel throughout the region and approach people interested in stargazing. Webb had been targeting people who posted online about wanting to see specific astronomical events, then approaching them at remote viewing locations. He convinced them to come to his private observatory for better viewing conditions, then take them to the bunker site. The encrypted messages were his way of recording details about each crime, victim information, dates, locations, and methods. He'd been maintaining this digital record for 15 years, probably never imagining that someone would crack his encryption method. During the investigation, they discovered that Webb had been planning to escalate his activities. The bunker contained supplies and equipment suggesting he was preparing to hold multiple victims simultaneously instead of the single abductions he'd been doing. The most disturbing part was that he'd been monitoring the online discussions about his encrypted messages for years. He knew that people were trying to solve his puzzles, and it seemed to encourage him to continue. He viewed the internet mystery community as unwitting participants in his crimes. My decryption breakthrough had unknowingly prevented what could have been his most ambitious crime yet. The FBI found evidence that he was planning a mass abduction during an upcoming lunar eclipse, when he knew many astronomy enthusiasts would be gathering at remote viewing locations. Webb was charged with 12 counts of murder and several additional charges related to the encrypted communications and cybercrimes. The FBI said my research had been crucial in connecting crimes that might have remained unsolved for decades longer. The case made national news as one of the first serial murder investigations to be solved primarily through crowdsourced cryptography and internet research. It highlighted how online communities can unknowingly preserve evidence of real-world crimes. The experience completely changed my perspective on internet mysteries and puzzle solving. What I'd thought was just an interesting intellectual challenge turned out to be evidence of horrific real-world crimes. I learned that some mysteries are better left unsolved. I still get contacted by law enforcement agencies asking for help with other encrypted communications and cold cases. It's rewarding to know that puzzle-solving skills can help bring justice to victims' families, but it's also sobering to realize how often online mysteries might be connected to actual crimes. The Webb case led to new protocols for how law enforcement monitors and investigates patterns in online communications. It also prompted several other internet mystery communities to re-examine their unsolved puzzles with fresh perspectives. I never anticipated that my pandemic hobby of solving internet puzzles would lead to helping solve a 15-year serial murder case. It's a reminder that the internet connects us to real people and real consequences in ways we don't always recognize.